Good morning. My name is Patricia Torres Ray, and I represent District 63 in the Minnesota Senate. Tuesday, a gunman opened fire at Robb Elementary School in Uvalde, Texas, claiming the lives of 19 children and 2 teachers. We are here to express our sincere condolences to the families of the community of Uvalde and to send a clear message to the people of Minnesota and our entire nation. We must push for sensible gun legislation and keep assault weapons off the streets, demand the protection of our communities, and make sure that our schools are safe places for children to attend. We want to add our voices to the voices of the majority of people in our country and in our communities. And today, we are here especially to be with the Latino community around the country. We are demanding immediate action. We need to test the capacity of our state and our nation to stand up to the gun lobby and protect the lives of our families, our children, our communities. Gun violence is a public health issue. We are in a crisis. As lawmakers and community leaders, we are here to call on every parent, every teacher, every student, and every person who condemns violence and hatred to raise their voices and participate in this movement and demand action. No major legislation has been approved by Congress in more than 10 years. Despite the widespread calls to do so after many mass shootings in the last few years, the time to act is now. There are 2 major measures that were passed in the House last year, but they are both stalled at the Senate. The suspect of Tuesday's shooting purchased a pair of military-style semi-automatic rifles just a few days after his 18th birthday. Several long-standing reform proposals, including red flag laws, a ban on standing assault rifles, the prohibition of high-capacity magazines, and other policies have been proposed in the House, and the Senate has not acted. We strongly support these measures and ask Minnesota representatives in the House and the Senate in Washington to vote in favor of these proposals. I would like to call Representative Carlos Mariani.
Gracias, Senadora. My name is Carlos Mariani Rosa, State Representative from 65B. 65B, when I first ran, was the largest Latino-populated district in the state. It is the historic Latino-populated communities in our state. I am also chair of the Minnesota House Public Safety Criminal Justice Reform Committee. America and our Latino familia was traumatized again with the slaughter of innocents a few days ago as yet another militarily armed assailant invaded a school to murder children. Gun violence destroys lives and rips apart communities, and we, elected officials, do nothing. The most basic thing our government must do is keep its citizens safe. Our state and federal government won't do that. It would be one thing if it couldn't do that. Legislative proposals abound for how to stop and change the course of gun violence, but lack of ideas is not the problem. Lack of will, lack of caring, lack of character, lack of commitment by those elected to make laws is the problem. We are the problem. We are the ones failing. 4 years ago, the Minnesota House Public Safety Committee I chaired passed 2 bills just to begin to establish our duty to protect Minnesotans from gun violence. These expanded universal background checks and red flag interventions were passed by several other states in bipartisan fashion. The full House passed our committee bill, but only one party voted for it, my party. It did not become law, however, as the Republican Senate voted against these common sense, life-saving proposals that had already been accepted in other states. It's time to bring those back, to keep bringing those back, and others like safe storage bills, age limits bills, expanded and universally certified safety trainings, research and reporting of gun use, liability bills, until they become laws. I have failed to do so, and I have because I now don't have the votes to pass these as we did 4 years ago. In fact, any introduction of such laws perversely runs the risk of expanding gun use, as they will be used under our legislative rules to change them by amending in things like legalizing violence, such as the permission to shoot first, ask question later laws. And let's face the truth then. This means also that we, the people, have failed because we haven't, again, elected enough members of the House in our state, much less the Senate, with the courage to vote for these bills. I call on us here and on our colleagues to meet our basic duty as state legislators and make laws to save the lives of people. I call on voters to elect legislators who will advance gun safety, regulation laws in the state of Minnesota. The very lives of our babies are at stake. Our humanity is at stake. I called on my brothers and sisters from my Latino community to come forward and share their thoughts at this moment.
Good morning. My name is Maria Isa Perez Hedges. I am a cultural community organizer and serve as the director of mentorship for the Twin Cities Mobile Jazz Project, an after-school programming providing youth services with music and arts. I'm also a mother who has to think about enrolling my child next year into school and thinking about what that means now in the times that we're living due to the accessibility of guns being not just in Texas schools, but right here in Minnesota. Through my youth work, I have been able to see the challenges that we are dealing with because of the accessibility of how easy it is to get guns. Not just purchasing them from a Walmart or a corporate store, but also the accessibilities that you can get a gun from your own communities in the streets. This has to stop. We are calling on our leaders in legislature to make sure that this is a bipartisan issue. We are living in a world of trauma, and it doesn't have to be when it comes to gun violence. From the city of St. Paul, Minneapolis, Red Lake, this has happened here. It's not that this is something new. So we need to come together. We need to make sure that there's a list of our legislators that have been putting these things together for years. It's not something that can't happen. It's something that must happen. I stand here in solidarity with our Latino community from all and every angle of policy work to ensure that this is a call for peace, a call for justice for those families that do not have their children to tuck into bed and hold or pick up after school anymore. And this is for the future of our youth to feel safe, for the future of our comunidades to feel safe. Muchas gracias.
Buenos días, good morning. My name is Paula Cole, and I am Vice Chair for the Richfield Board of Education. I'm also director of Educators for Excellence, a nonprofit with over 2,000 teachers as members. I'm also a mom. I'm a former teacher for 7 years at elementary school, and I was part of many red coat drills, as we call it at schools. I will not repeat the great points made by my colleagues here. I want to make this call for bipartisan support to fight for our freedoms in this country. Terrorist attacks happen all over the world, and we as a nation invest a lot of money, resources to stop them, and yet here in our own homeland, our children cannot be sent home by their parents, and parents, we don't know if our kids are ever going to come back, and that is losing our freedom. I've heard from many legislators that instead of removing this access to guns like pieces of candy at stores and whatever, that just we have to arm teachers. I want you to visualize a teacher wearing, a cardigan, just very comfortable pants of shoes, and then we also have to carry a gun. Let me tell you something about the weight of that. Not only physically on my body, but even the weight that a key from my classroom that I had to wear around my neck for 7 years, in the case I heard a red coat, either drill or not, so that I could lock my room and tell 6-year-olds, go into the back, and then fetch a kid that's in the hallway, because that child should not be going back to their classroom. You need to fetch them and get them in and bring them to safety. And then you hug them as a teacher. You're 25, 28, 30 kids, while they ask you, teacher, is this real? Are we safe? Are we in danger? And that is not freedom. We have to fight for our freedoms of the right now, not to protect an amendment that was written at a time when we didn't have the rifles that we have right now, hundreds of years later. So this is my call for legislators, both here in the state of Minnesota and also the federal government. Please, I beg you, do it for the children, do it for our families, do it for our freedom to walk by and know that we can send our kids to school safely, that we will see them, that we don't have to continue witnesses things like this that make us numb because our bodies are telling us this is just too much and I can't cope. And we can become numb to the issues. These are families, these are children. Think of your children, legislators, please. Think of your children, think of the people that you represent, and to all voters, please elect legislators who will protect the freedom that you have to have a life free of fear here in our own homeland. Thank you.
Buenos días. My name is Emilia Gonzalez Ábalos. I'm the executive director of Unidos Minnesota. I am also a mother of 3 and a grandmother of an 18-month-old. And I support all the points that were already said, but I want us to bring back the folks from Uvalde, Texas. Usilla Garcia, 8 years old, deserved common sense gun safety. Javier López, 10 years old, deserved common sense gun safety. Amarillo Garza, 10 years old, was worthy of common sense gun safety. Jose Flores, 10 years old, was worthy of common sense gun safety. Irma Garcia, an educator, deserved common sense gun safety. Eva Mireles, 44, an educator, deserved common sense gun safety. Rogelio Torres, 10 years old, deserved common sense gun safety. Makina Lee Elrod, 10 years old, deserved common sense gun safety. Tess Marie Mata deserved common sense gun safety. Anabel Guadalupe Rodriguez, 10 years old, deserved common sense gun safety. Eli Garcia, 10. Navae Bravo, 10. Elijana Cruz Torres, 10 years old. Yalaya Nicolás Silguero, 11 years old. Jaycee Carmelo Luévanos, 10 years old. Alicia Ramirez, 10 years old. Jacqueline Jalen Casares, 10 years old, Alexandria Anilla Rubio, Maite Rodriguez. Let us name these names with our full tongues. All of these children and educators were worthy of common sense gun safety laws. At Unidos, Minnesota, we recognize that the power of the people can change the conditions in which we live in. We, the working class, the mixed status, the people of color, the indigenous people, the working families, we have an agreement. We are hungry for common sense gun safety laws. We are clear that the joy of our children is worthy of any and every effort to make sure that we reach and we make that the law of the land. It's time for our elected officials to start giving explanations why this has not been solved. As I was naming the young lives that could have been saved, this was preventable. This was evitable. We must ask ourselves, what is stopping legislators to getting this done? No money, no deep pocket can be more important than the life of our little ones. I wish I could end in a hopeful message. And it's clear that we have a public health crisis when people can access gun easier than healthcare for all, or better jobs, or quality education sometimes. I have trust in us, the people, that we continue to work together and hold these elected officials accountable. And this can happen this year in Minnesota. It can happen this year in the country. I think it's time. Make your calls, talk to your friends, talk to your neighbors, talk to everyone. We have a birthright to joy. We have a birthright to thriving opportunities. It's a time to fight for that. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for your messages. Do you have any questions for us?
What kind of conversations have you had with parents who maybe have lingered a little bit longer at school drop-off, worried about, could something that happened so far away happen elsewhere? What's it been like the last couple of days?
Thank you. I see many of those parents that you're making reference to outside at the corner for the bus stop, where all of our neighbors meet in the morning. And it has felt in the last 2 days as if we're attending a funeral and we're looking at our kids lining up to get on the bus, and they're happy. My daughter is 6 years old, and they don't know the heartache that the parents that we are feeling, looking at the clock and waiting for 2:15 so we can go back to the same corner and hope that our children are there and that we are not going to be at a recovery reunification center later that day. They asked me about, is it safe to go to school? I shared with them, well, we have a badge. If you want to go into the building, you have to go through these, doors first, and then you go to these other doors first. But then that means, then if you go and take something, so like I went to drop off my daughter's lunch on Monday morning, and I can't even go to my daughter's class to drop off lunch because not even I, can go through those other doors. So that is what I'm hearing. I get emails from constituents in Richfield also, who ask, what's the school doing for this? What kind of supports are you providing to the children who have to come to school the next day? Because we're still open. Classes are still happening. And we have to be constantly thinking about those supports that we have to provide children, to tell the kids, especially older, middle school, high schoolers, come to the gym if you feel like you need to talk to an adult about this. This is not normal. And I get goosebumps just to think about it, and it won't go away. And thank you for your question. Thank you for your question about the families and about the things that I hear every day from them.
Chair Mariani, does this change your conversations with Senator Limmer or with others about what you might be able to do in a special session?
Thank you for that question. It will be part of our conversation. I do know that the senator has expressed concern over what he perceives to be lack of proper prosecution of gun offenses. I can't say I totally disagree with him on that. I think we have some common ground here about concern with gun violence. Unfortunately, the senator led the charge to oppose our proposals 4 years ago when we were in conference committee. I would certainly hope, I'll certainly do more than hope, I'll push that he and others rethink their position, that the continued price that we're continuing to pay in our society is abominable and something that does not align, I don't believe, with his values. And so I certainly will be pushing this issue. As you know, specials of late, have been pretty prescribed going in. There's usually a lot of negotiations that go on up front to determine the parameters of a special. I think that's fine. But what it does do is that it doesn't allow then for a serious diving into other important issues. And this, there's nothing more important than this. So I will certainly be working during this phase to be able to expand out, what the parameters of the next session would be and should be.
Have there been any meaningful conversations between you and the senator since the end of the regular session about how to pick up where you left off, or even, get the final mile?
I have reached out to the senator. I haven't heard back from him yet. That's perhaps not a little unsurprising. There's a little bit of dancing that goes on when it comes to any kind of legislating. But there's a time at which we really should be responding to one another. And so that time is now. I can tell you my speaker has similarly been reaching out to the majority leader and apparently have had some preliminary, at least, quick conversations about the possibility for a meaningful special session. But frankly, at this point, I'm looking for a much more assertive response on the part of the Senate and a part of my counterpart so that we can work out the parameters of our bill and so that I could also bring this issue forward. And I'm still waiting for him to call me back.
But you didn't sound very optimistic a few minutes ago about actual advancement of some of these gun proposals. You feel like the dynamics are somewhat entrenched right now.
I think that's a fair question. Let me say it this way. As someone who's been here for quite a while, even when there aren't agreements, even when there aren't even enough ideas, it's vitally important to engage in problem solving for issues, especially for issues that impact the lives of our people. It may mean that there's no production of legislation immediately. May mean we're not going to hit a home run, but it might mean we can get a base hit in terms of establishing in a public and transparent way an understanding of one another's positions deeper than what we currently have now, and opens up the space for creative problem solving. No one was talking about red flag laws 10 years ago. Several states have done those now. We've attempted to do that. That only comes through the act of engaging and struggling with one another. Avoiding the issue completely is not problem solving. And so at the very least, I feel duty bound to be able to push for that kind of engagement and see where it takes us.
We have time for one or two more questions.
The conference committee mentioned on guns, Senator Limmer said, well, if you take somebody's gun away in a red flag law, that they'll still have a bat or a knife or whatever. What was the response to that kind of line of thinking, that line of reasoning, that guns are just one way a person can hurt somebody?
Well, and I could certainly ask my colleagues, my brethren here to respond as community members, but it doesn't take much common sense to understand the difference between a knife and a gun. Certainly not between the difference between a knife and an AR-15. These are mass weapons of death. And you couple that with body armor that an 18-year-old had the sensibility or the awareness to acquire. And what it means is that even when faced with someone with a gun, as he was, 3 people, he was unstoppable. So it's, we cannot afford to engage in those kind of, silly is too weak a word, but, just false, comparisons. We have to face straight up the incredible power of death and destruction that modern weapons have, and the incredible easy access in which almost anyone has to them, and the dearth of safety measures at the very least. We're not talking about taking away guns. We're talking about safety, common sense measures. Let's start there.
Texas does have significantly more liberal gun laws than Minnesota does. So there probably are Minnesotans out there who do feel like Minnesota is safer, and something like this would not happen here. So what would you say to those people, to encourage them to your way of thinking about this?
I would say that you shouldn't roll the dice with another school shooting in the state of Minnesota. And, in our society, those attitudes, those beliefs, the weapons themselves don't stay within state lines. We had an individual that came up here 2 years ago from Texas with an AR-15, I believe, and shot up our 3rd precinct in South Minneapolis. We had a young man travel from Illinois into Milwaukee and killed a couple of people as he self-deputized himself. So, it's a falsehood to believe that state lines are going to protect us from different approaches, different behaviors, different belief systems that exist elsewhere in our nation. And we should do everything possible here to make sure that we're not emulating and we're certainly not condoning the behavior that occurs in other states. The stakes are just too high.
All right, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. We did have the school shooting